Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is November 25th, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see our plume of moisture moving into the Pacific Northwest. We got some difficult mountain pass travel conditions coming up as we go through the day today. We'll take a look at the latest on that. We'll take a look at the latest on the Arctic air on the move across some portions of Canada, and we'll take a look at what's coming for Thanksgiving and the extended forecast as always as we go through the video here this morning. So taking a look at the combination of Doppler radars, this will be on the increase in the day today. So far, precipitation amounts have been light, but again, this will be increasing and bring some impactful weather, especially across the mountain areas here as we go through the afternoon and evening hours. Now, Tempest Weather Station, you can still get one of these before we get our crazy winter weather rolling in here for many locations. It does UV index, lightning detection, tells you when it starts raining. It's all solar powered, stores all the data for you in the cloud. Very fun weather station. You can see all the stuff that it does. So click on the link down below to save 10% off on one. So winter weather advisories are up. Hopefully you guys saw those come up yesterday. And I'll show you something interesting here with the forecast offices and some of their boundaries here in a moment. And also some nice graphics coming out here as well today. Lookout Pass, you can see on I-90, 3 to 5 inches. You can see 4th of July Pass, 1 to 3. You can see some of the other areas, light snowfall amounts generally speaking. But if we take a look at the Cascades, 2 to 8 for Snoqualmie at about 3,000 feet. There's Stevens Pass at about 4,000 feet, 6 to 12. Washington Pass up there on Highway 20. And you can see Coles Corner, 2 to 5. And don't sleep on Blewett Pass going back and forth between I-90 and Highway 2, expecting 2 to 6 inches. Wenatchee, you can see down there, 0 to 2 as well. And so we had some of these graphics going out there yesterday. Glad to see it. But I do want to show you this. This is the National Weather Service forecast offices here across the Pacific Northwest. You can see how Pendleton goes all the way up towards Snoqualmie Pass, just butts up against King County there. So it does cover right up to Snoqualmie Pass. So sometimes you'll see some of these winter weather advisories, they kind of mimic some of these lines and boundaries here. So if you see that, that's the reason why, because these offices are obviously putting out their, their advisories and warnings and whatnot based on each office. They do try to coordinate with each other, but sometimes it's not always perfect. Now, taking a look here at the European model, if we put this into motion, you can see the precipitation increase. There's about 10 a.m. There's about 1 p.m., 4 p.m. You can see the snow gets going pretty good here as we go through the afternoon and the evening hours, and continues on in through the evening hours. And then as we go through tonight, it may change over to some freezing rain across the passes that could cause a glaze of some ice on objects out there, and it could be on the road as well. So it could be some slick driving conditions tonight. So probably a better travel day tomorrow. Look at this by 10 a.m. on Wednesday. That is not bad here from Spokane to Seattle or back and forth. Rain going on across the Cascades of Oregon. That's above past level, so that's not bad there also. So definitely Wednesday, probably the better day to travel if you have a choice. And then you can see the next system rolling in here as we go through Thanksgiving, still producing precipitation across the region. And as we go on in through Thanksgiving Day, it looks like some more snowfall here for the Cascades. We'll watch this one closely tomorrow as well. But yeah, be prepared for some winter driving conditions across some of the pass areas on Thanksgiving as well if you're still out there moving about. And then we go on in through Friday, system swings through, and you can see this Arctic air kind of hanging down here across the Rocky Mountains, getting down towards portions of Idaho. This is a fairly impactful looking storm here. You're going to have some gusty winds and some interesting snowfall amounts across portions of Idaho, southwest Montana, all the way down towards Yellowstone, eastern Idaho, and down in towards Wyoming as well as that Arctic air starts to get in here. And you can see we do dry out for a bit here as well as we go through that upcoming weekend. And then what happens after that, we'll take a look at that here more in a moment. But if we look at total precipitation in inches, we're scrolling through the day today through this afternoon. You see the rainfall piling up for Seattle. Eventually it starts to get going there for Portland. And you can kind of see Washington getting the lion's share of this versus British Columbia. And then we go on in through Thanksgiving. So let's take a look here. We start that precipitation up again on Thanksgiving. You can see some of the coastal areas of Washington, some of the Cascades get some decent amounts and some additional rounds of snowfall possible as well. But look at, by the time we go towards, what is this, about Thursday night, you see Seattle 1.6 inches of precipitation on top of everything else we've gotten. And I'm going to back this up a bit here. Again, looking at National Weather Service offices, they did not have anything out there across southwest Montana and Idaho as far as winter weather advisors or winter storm watches or anything like that. But do be prepared. That's probably incoming here for that storm system on Friday. So taking a look at 925 millibars, this is just off the surface. You can see that moisture plume moving into the region or atmospheric river, whatever you want to call it. And then we get this next system rolling towards the coastline. It might bring some blustery winds, mainly to the Oregon coast, but gusts should be around 40 miles per hour or so. But you'll also notice that, see these north winds coming down that? It's a terrain feature, the Okanagan River Valley. Some of that cooler air trying to leak down into eastern Washington. You can see a little bit of the Fraser River. That's more of a a little this it is not an Arctic air blast or anything like that. It's kind of chillier air kind of slide in there. It's very modified Arctic air trying to make its way down into the region. But again, it's not that cold. The bulk of this is moving down east of the Rockies, but you can see some of that chillier air trying to move down into eastern Washington. Again, remember that Okanagan River Valley as we go through the winter months, is an important cold air conduit into eastern Washington. Now, accumulated positive snow depth change in inches. How much snow is coming for today? Well, this is actually what the high resolution rapid refresh thinks is going to be on the ground. By the time you get towards about the noon hour, you can see 2 inches for Snoqualmie and some pretty decent amounts as we scroll on in through the evening here today. This is not a 10-to-1 ratio map. In fact, if we go to winter and I go to 10-to-1 ratio, you can see that it's going to show up as more. So I like to go to positive snow depth change in inches to kind of give a more accurate representation of just exactly what is going to be on the ground. And that is as we go through tonight. So some pretty hefty amounts showing up here for some locations, Central Cascades, including Snoqualmie, Stevens, and White Pass for a few inches as well. Now, if we look at the National Blend of Models, it does show something similar here also, a half a foot there for Snoqualmie or so. And if we take a look at the European, also, again, accumulated positive snow depth change in inches shows about 6-7 inches here as we go. Well, 6 inches for the first initial system. Then as we go through the day on Thanksgiving, a little bit more precipitation in the form of snow for Snoqualmie Pass. A few more inches is possible. Now, if we take a look at 925 millibars, this is the temperature again at about 2,500 feet. So we'll scroll through here a little bit. What I'm showing you here is this colder air across some of northwest Canada and central Canada. You can see our system coming in here on Thanksgiving. That kind of slides in underneath this Arctic air. And as it goes through, it allows it to pull down a little bit of that Arctic air down into the region. Kind of see how things cool off a little bit, mainly east of the Cascades there. And yeah, so not a big Arctic outbreak or anything like that into the Pacific Northwest. Again, the bulk of that cold air staying east of the Rocky Mountains, which honestly, it's what I've expected the entire time from this pattern. And, hoping we get our turn here as we go on in through December and maybe on in through January. And I'll show you some more on that here in a moment. But if we take a look at the artificial intelligence versus the GFS, again, you're going to kind of see some stuff showing up on some social media posts, most likely, because every time it shows any kind of cold air chance on any model, somebody's got to post it. So I'm trying to nip that in the bud a bit here. But this is the ensemble member stuff. You can see the GFS as we go on in through the month of December, the first week or so, it starts to show some of that cold air really getting developed here across Western Canada. But the better performing artificial intelligence models keep that away from the region here, at least in the 2-week period or so. So not too worried about that just yet. We'll see how this trends here over the next few days. And if we look at the European ensemble mean, though, it has it as well. So it's something to watch. And again, this would kind of be through the first week of December or so. So anyway, I think this is a 1-day temperature anomaly running. So yeah, we'll watch that through the extended forecast. Plenty of time to look at that for now. 6 to 10 day, kind of a below normal signal there. We'll see about that. And then you can kind of see the below normal signal for precipitation as well. We don't have that southwest flow. You tend to be below normal at this time of year. Now, looking at that extended forecast on the European extended ensemble mean. So if we scroll through there, there's the Arctic air we're dealing with in the short term. And then it kind of shows that bunching up there a bit again as well as we go through the first half of December. But you notice as we scroll on in through December and on in through January, it continues to show that pattern with the above average heights across the Aleutians, which would allow for that La Nina signature to be with us here in the Pacific Northwest and bring us some below normal temperatures. And if you look at that here as well, this is kind of looking at the same thing, ridging out over the Pacific, cooler than normal here across the western portions of the USA. So cross your fingers. snow lovers, maybe we'll finally get one during peak season, which is some portion of January here in the Pacific Northwest. I'd love to get an Arctic outbreak in January, and just, if you're going to do it, let's do it right. So that's something I'm rooting for as we go on and through the next few months. And you can kind of see that again here with the ridging across the Aleutian Islands. We got to be sure to check back on this as well in the next, once we get out towards the later portions of December and January, to see if this did actually occur. But you see that subtle troughing with some of that Arctic air trying to bear down into Western Canada here. Maybe we'll get lucky. We'll see. Drought monitor here, this should be updated on Thursday, but you see this will be on the improvement here, but there's still some extreme and severe drought across the region. We're running some big precipitation deficits across the area, but some areas of Oregon have no drought at all. What else here? Check out the Patreon page if y'all like. Stay safe out there. Hopefully you are in your place that you need to be for Thanksgiving. And if not, again, probably the best day for travel is Wednesday versus today on the day Tuesday, because the snow is coming here pretty quick. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.